I think that like at least take a moment to celebrate and enjoy that. And I hope that that's also kind of what the air of Saturday's like. I think from that perspective, I think that's the big storyline. I think also with Saturday, I mean, the fact that the rushing record is on the line on Saturday is something not to let, like, I don't think it should be glossed over. Like, this means that Kaytron Allen would become the at least from a statistical standpoint, the greatest rusher in Penn State history, at least on a statistical basis. Not, I don't think he's the best running back in Penn State history for a lot of other reasons, but I just think that that's cool. And I mean, Royster was what, 2006 ish? Like this opportunity doesn't come around. So I hope that Penn State finds a way to celebrate that, and hopefully they make it happen at home, because I think that would be cool. I think that would be a neat moment. I hope that in stadium they capitalize on that and draw attention to that. I think when Sean Clifford broke a couple records, or either Sean or Trace broke a couple records, they acknowledged it in the stadium. But I think that would be neat. I do think, going back to the point, I don't know if I love the fact that the Big Ten, a week out, is like, oh, by the way, we're giving you a night game. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem right for the logistical hurdles of being a fan at Penn State. Not even aside from the fact that it is the weekend going into fall break.
I'm gonna channel Leah here, and say that it's really not a heavy lift. Well, she wouldn't say this, so I'll be grumpy, Leah. Sorry.
Okay.
This game has been on your schedule for a year.
No, it's fair.
You knew it was this day. You have one thing to do. You have a couple things to do to train. They didn't give up lifting sessions to show up for this game. They didn't give up practices for this game. They're still showing up. All people have to do is drive and show up. And I get it. I am the most fair weather fan that's going to be in that stadium on Saturday night. No lie. Right. Like, they're just. But I will never complain about. I mean, the 6-day window isn't great for a lot of reasons. But you signed up to take the money as Penn State in the Big Ten. This is part of the deal. It happens once a year. Would you feel differently if it was a noon game?
I think there's two sides of this.
Okay.
There's the corporate Penn State side. And then there is the fan aspect.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I agree.
I could understand why, if you were somebody that lived in Lancaster, Harrisburg area, you would not come to this game this weekend simply because you didn't think that you were going to need a hotel. Now, I do think, to your benefit, that there are, but I do think that, like, that's what makes it a little inconvenient. I would much rather, what I like about the SEC system is they give you, before the season, they say this game can be in the late afternoon window or the early afternoon window. Some type of inclination direction for a fan. I think that would be fine. I don't think Penn State, corporate Penn State should complain about it at all, because I think, to Leah's point, it's a showcase. Like, I don't know that there's that much interesting on this weekend, because it's SEC's. A lot of the SEC schools are playing the Little Sisters of the Poor. Like, I think that in terms of, like, or not must watch TV, it's not necessarily must watch TV, but it will be a game that is far more watched than it had been on noon on BTN for certain, and probably slightly better attended. But I'll
give you that differentiation.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a different, but at the same time, you got 7 of these.
No,
7 a year.
Correct.
So, I mean, my first reaction was, I'm out, right? You texted me what time it was. I'm like, well, so much for me. But then the more I thought about it, you only get a couple of these. You only get 7. Well, I only get a couple of them because I'm only going in a couple times. And then back to Kaytron. It reminds me of 2003. This is Larry Johnson going for 2,000 yards in 2003. And I remember being in that stadium for that game. And it was, they acknowledged it. People knew it was fun, right? Like, and he's still the running back that's got the most cheated out of the Heisman Trophy in my lifetime, because he rushed for 2,003 yards in the Big Ten with nobody in front of him who was named all conference. If that would have been an Ohio State guy, they might have made him governor of Ohio and given him the Heisman Trophy.
Well, his dad almost wanted to be the governor of Ohio.
That's true.
No, I think that it's funny you say that, because that was exactly what I was thinking about. Because I do remember that build up. I remember that experience to that game, or that run up to that game. That was Michigan State weekend. My cousin Jimmy flew up from Texas and did not have a winter coat for that game. I didn't get to go to that game. Jimmy took the ticket. He didn't even have a winter coat for that game.
Too bad he didn't take a coat.
And he needed a coat. But I think that I don't know. I think there's been so much not crying over soured milk, because I don't think there's really that all of the milk is correctly soured. But I think back to being in the present, picking and choosing and finding these little moments are a lot of fun, because you are, if it happens on Saturday night, you are going to be able to say, I was there when Kaytron Allen broke the career rushing record. And I weirdly think that of all of the Penn State records that there are, I think that one means the most. Would you agree? I mean, and maybe that's literally because of the visual indication of it being on the stairs at the student bookstore. But I think that one means the most.
Yeah, it's what Penn State is. It's DNA, right? That's why they ran 13 times on that drive. So yeah, I think so. I think that's the, you don't have a statistic like that for linebackers. Okay. So yeah, I would agree with that. Okay. Plus, it's going to be.